What's the dumbest thing you've ever heard someone say? I remarked that it's odd that we associate rabbits with eggs for Easter. I jokingly said we should make it an Easter platypus because unlike rabbits they lay eggs. Then someone overheard this and said, wait. No, rabbits do lay eggs. This turned into a 2-minute argument over whether or not rabbits lay eggs. And then when she finally accepted that she was wrong, she was so irritated that she asked all of her coworkers if they thought the same as her. To the best of my knowledge, she's the only one. It's been proven that if you dream about falling and hit the ground in your dream, you will die in your sleep. Yeah. If someone dies in their sleep, how do you know what they were dreaming? It's been proven by the internet though. Very credible. I saw a picture with text on Facebook. That's pretty credible, right? It's not cheating if you don't love the person. I felt the pain from here. Work at a hotel. Guest asked why there was no 4th of July parade or any fireworks in town. We were in Australia. Blue fire is cold. Okay, put your hand in it. It's so cold it burns us. A few years ago, leading up to the Great American Eclipse, a coworker overheard us discussing it and said, "Y'all don't actually believe in that shit, do you?" I figured he misunderstood whatever we were talking about and thought we were talking about mysticism or something regarding the eclipse, but no, he followed up with, "Don't you know if the moon went into the sun it would melt, that's why the eclipse can't be real." I genuinely felt like humanity should probably start over from scratch after that. I can imagine as the internet was just hitting the world, someone must have thought that the spread of information and knowledge would make the world a smarter place. My sister panicked whilst on a plane and asked if she could open a window as she was feeling really hot. The guy in the seats across from her lost it. It made his day. I saw a drunk German woman fiddling with the airplane door because she wanted to have a smoke outside. That chickens have no brains. Not that they are stupid. That a chicken literally does not have a brain. I had a neighbor who was sharing a similar theory about geckos after performing the very scientific procedure of ripping one open with pliers. Why? Trying to save money on car insurance. When I was like 13, I told my friend that there was such a thing as a liger. They had successfully made it a lion and a tiger. His response, "You idiot, tigers are female lions." We took the argument to his mother to settle it. She took his side. Was World War II the cold one or the Asian one? You have vertigo? Isn't vertigo that place where the planes get lost? No, that's Where'd It Go? Sorry for the confusion. A few years ago I got a job offer in Japan and decided to take it. Some friends from my then office threw me a farewell party. The girlfriend of one of my coworkers came along and told me that she'd always wanted to go to Japan and that her number one thing to do there would be to take a camel ride. My coworker and I just looked at her to see if she'd explain more, maybe there was a camel cafe she'd heard about or something. But no, she just honestly thought camels were a common mode of transportation in Japan. That Japan was the capital of Australia. We share a time zone, but that's about it. China is its own continent because the people who live there are called Chinese, and we are Oklahomans. Did I miss the memo where we became a continent? Most Oklahomans can be confused for continents. What about Oklahomans? And the Oklaho children? Some girl once told me that it was impossible for me to be Vietnamese. BC Vietnam was a war and not a country. This happened while in college SMH. You should have answered with "You're right, I must be French or Indian." You think someone who doesn't know Vietnam was a country knows what the French-Indian War is? How do they know which moon to put out? They store them in order, but if they get them mixed up you just check which one they used yesterday and use the next one. What a dummy. Asia was a country in China. This reminds me of a show that used to come on A in the early 2000s. It was about ancient civilizations, may have been hosted by Bill Curtis, but I'm hazy on the memory of that. One episode was about ancient Egypt and the narrator said, "Egypt, which is located next to Africa." I'll never forget it because me and my GF at the time were on the phone and she heard that part too. It became an inside joke between us. I returned from a holiday in Egypt and you had to answer the health and prohibited goods declaration on arrival. On the question of "Have you been in Africa in the last 14 days?" I wrote yes. The immigration officer asked me which country in Africa. When I told him Egypt, he looked at me puzzled, said that's not in Africa, crossed out my answer and waved me through. I had pretty much this exact conversation. Was visiting family in Russia, came back to the US, and had it "Have you been to Asia in the last month or something" on the health form. Said yes, was asked where, said Russia, got told that's in Europe, don't be stupid. I just shrugged and went where he told me, not going to fight getting home quicker. Before people say Russia is Europe, everyone lives in the West, which is Europe. I was way beyond the Urals in a backwater town my cousins have decided to live in, so there. Don't argue with stupid, I guess. At a sushi place in Dallas, a large middle-aged man at another table shouted, "God damn, those Japs don't duck around with their guacamole." I remember the first time I had sushi rolls with wasabi. I spread it like guacamole. You couldn't even see the rice underneath. The whole restaurant got a good laugh out of my misery. The stupid part, I was warned. The first time I thought, hey, smells like horseradish, must be green horseradish then. Continued to put quite a load of it onto the sushi roll and ate it. Felt like a hole is being burned through my palate into my nose and further into my eyes. Fun times. You aren't far off in that initial thought. Actual wasabi is very uncommon in North America, and often what you get is a concentrated horseradish paste that has been dyed. It's not common anywhere outside of Japan. Wasabi is only grown in very specific regions in Japan, certainly not enough export. Wasabi you find outside of fancy restaurants will be majority horseradish with maybe a nominal amount of wasabi paste. There are 3 types of Asians: Chinese, Japanese, and Asians. Friend shared that he thought women were like chickens. One day a month we would sit on a toilet all day and lay an egg. If you could adopt a child from a third world country, which country would you choose and why? I would choose Alaska, because it's really cold there. A member of the prom court being asked a random question on our school's live news show that was being broadcasted out to every homeroom. The answer aside, that's a really weird question. Yeah, I'd feel really weird answering it. When I pointed out to a coworker that a person who actually was modest wouldn't brag about how modest they are, how would people know that I'm modest if I don't tell them? I honestly would have assumed it was a joke. I think I give too many people the benefit of the doubt. A high school student asked if Obama was president of the world. BTW, the person that asked that question was debatably one of the dumbest students in my school. The moon is much better than the sun because it's up at night illuminating while the sun is up during the day when it's already bright. I worked with a guy in his 40s, and one day, he asked me if I knew that the moon didn't produce light. I was like, yeah, it reflects sunlight, though. He was shocked, because he said he had just learned that the day before. This guy went to college and started businesses and shit. Someone once said, "But I don't want to put the bag of aquatic snails inside the fish tank, they might drown." That someone was me. Past me is dumb. One of the milestones of becoming smarter is knowing that you were once stupid. To become stronger, one must surpass their past self. Y'all really gonna make me remember the time my coworker thought Willy Wonka was a real person and wondered how much money he was making on nerds and gobstoppers. I really thought I had a shot at visiting the factory when I was younger too. I thought the movie was made as both an advertisement by Wonka to trick children at the time, like me to buy Wonka candies, and a deterrent to prevent us from using it by showing us how badly we could end up if we went on the factory tour. As an adult, I laugh at the way I interpret the purpose of that movie. As a kid though, I thought that Wonka was a complete genius to both have the marketing campaign where you could win but would not exercise the right so that he will not be committing a crime.